Thank you everyone for joining us today. We are going to be discussing the new design survey request today. My name is Dina Troutman. I am your member relations specialist here at Oki 811, and I'll be presenting today's webinar. Before we begin, let's go over a few housekeeping items. The orange arrow is to expand or collapse the interface. All attendees are in listen only mode, and you can click the screen icon to view your presentation in full screen. You may submit questions using the questions box shown here. Today's webinar is going to be approximately 30 minutes long, so we will have a lot of time for questions if anybody has questions at the end. We really do highly encourage and welcome any questions that you may have during this webinar. Also, be sure to check out our handout section. We do have a handout for today's webinar there. Before we begin, let's take a high-level look at what we will be discussing today. So today we're going to cover the law change that goes into effect on November 1st. We will be discussing the new design survey request and how that is going to impact members and all the details about that request. And we're also going to be going over positive response for the design survey requests. But first, let's take a look at the law. The most important piece to remember is that the design survey requests are now a part of the law. So that law is going to be effective on November 1st, 2023. Members will begin receiving a new notification for the design survey request. This is going to be a notice to facility operators to provide underground facility information during the design or engineering phase of a project to try and mitigate any potential impact to those existing underground facilities. If you want more information regarding this law change, you can visit the amended sections of the law on our website at oki811.org/the law. And with this law change, there are some new requirements and some things that we need from you, our members. And the most important thing that we need is a design contact. So a design contact will be the person or department who is responsible for maintaining those underground facilities. That might be an engineering department, a design department, someone like that. And not all companies will have that separate department, but there should be that one person in your organization who normally handles those types of things. There will be only one design contact per dispatch. You can provide a phone number, an email, or both for your design contact. And this information will be printed on the design survey request along with your company information, so the excavators will have access to that design contact information. So be sure you're not giving out any personal information you wouldn't want the general public to have. And it is important to note that these design contacts are going to be required for every dispatch. They are an important piece of the design survey process. Now let's talk about design outputs and why design outputs might be right for your organization. So a design output may not be what every organization needs. If you're a locator who already receives all your tickets directly and you're also the design contact for your organization, a design output probably wouldn't be very beneficial to you. However, if your company has a separate design contact and they only need to receive those design survey requests, it would be important to set up your design output as soon as possible. Those design outputs will allow Oki 811 to send design survey requests directly to your design contact. A design output will incur that additional output fee. And remember, the design outputs are optional. If you're not sure your organization needs one, please feel free to contact member services and we can assist you with that. And if you choose not to add a design output, you will receive your design survey request at your existing electronic outputs. When you're reviewing your dispatch information, be sure to review that authorized contact section. This is how you're going to see if your company already has added a design contact or if you still need to add one. To review that dispatch information, you would review that on the portal at dig.oki811.org and just select that membership info. And here we can see that this dispatch has a design contact added. You can see that they've listed a department, a phone number, and an email address. Now, if you do not have a design contact added, it's going to say not provided, and the phone number is going to be all zeros. And that's how you know that you still need to add that design contact. And then on the outputs, the design outputs will always say design output. So you can see that this dispatch has a primary output, and then they also have their design output. So if you want to add an output or check to see if you have an output, if you don't see one labeled design output, you do not have a design output. Okay, and if you would like to update or add that design contact or output, from that membership info screen in the portal, you'll simply select update information. When you're going through that form, you're going to get to question number 6. That's going to be changes to design contacts. Here is where you would add a design contact, update a contact, or if you want to remove one and add somebody else, you would enter all of that information in that field. To add an output or a design output, it's important to note that you will come to the section that asks you to add an additional output. In that dropdown, you'll need to select yes, and then you'll have a few different options, and you'll want to select the design survey notification output. And then in box 13, you would just add that email address and the name to whom that email belongs for that design output. Now let's cover that design survey process and what those requests will look like when you receive them and how they're going to differ from a standard locate request. So design survey requests can only be submitted in the portal. Let's walk through those steps of submitting a design survey request, and this is what the excavator or engineer is going to go through when they're submitting those. So the excavator will select ticket type design survey request. Then they're going to be asked, will there be any digging involved? If they select yes, they're going to get a pop-up that says you indicated digging will be taking place. This request will be submitted as a normal locate request. If no digging is taking place and you only wish to receive information from facility owners or operators, please select design survey request and indicate no digging will take place. If they initially select that no, there will be no digging involved, they're going to receive this pop-up. It's going to let them know that a design survey request is not a locate request, and this is not for excavation purposes. The design survey request is for the purpose of planning, design, or survey only. Facility operators have 14 days to respond with maps or marks. If excavating, please submit a normal locate request at least 48 hours, excluding that date of notification, before the planned start of the excavation. So after they let them know that no digging is going to be taking place, they will get this pop-up box that we need to collect some information regarding the design request so facility operators can know how they should respond. So they're going to be asked, would you prefer maps or marks? If they select that they would prefer maps, they will get the pop-up letting them know that we need to collect some information regarding that and what type of mapping files can you use. Do they want PDF files, KML, KMZ, shape files, any type of map you have, or something else? Then they'll be able to either select an email that they already have on file or enter a different email to have that sent to. And if they select that they need marks, they're just going to go to the next step in the process. So this is what it'll look like when they are entering their ticket information. There's a few fields that we really want to highlight during this process. The first one is going to be the facility operator response by. The facility operators, or you as a member, will have 14 calendar days to respond to these design survey requests. And they're going to see that right up front. So if they submitted that ticket today, they would have till, or you would have until October 11th to either mark or provide them with maps. In the request info box, you can see it has their preferred response for the request, which is maps of the facilities. It lists the type of mapping files they want and where to send those mapping files to. And I just want to reiterate here that even though they may select that they prefer maps or they may say they prefer markings, the members have the choice of how they're going to respond. So if they say they prefer a map but you don't have a map, you can feel free to go mark those facilities or however you would like to do that. And again, I just want to highlight that over on that bottom left-hand corner, they're also getting another reminder that this is not a locate request and it's not for excavation purposes. So through the process, there are really a lot of times where it highlights that this is just for the design purpose. Okay, and so now we're going to take a look at the request info boxes just so you can see what you're going to receive in either case. They'll either show that its preferred response for the request is the maps of the facilities, or if they choose marks, it's going to say physical markings on site. Once they hit submit, this is what they'll see, just letting them know that that request was submitted successfully. They'll get their reference number. Then it's going to show them the companies that had utilities listed in that area. And then again, it tells them that this is not a locate request and it is not for excavation purposes. And this is what the excavator copy looks like when they receive their copy. The difference on the excavator copy from a normal locate request will be that ticket type, where it will say design survey request. And down where it says Okie 811 members in the area, instead of just seeing those company name and dispatch code, they're now also going to see that design contact information that you provided. And as we can see on some of these, it says design contact not provided. And then on another test code, it shows that contact information. Now let's take a look at the copy that the members will receive. Again, it'll look very similar to the standard locate request that you already received. The differences will be in the ticket type. So that's going to say the design survey request, and in the location information. So this is where you're going to see, what their preferred response is. So let's go over a difference or the differences between the locate request versus the design request. So on a locate request, facility operators have a minimum of 48 hours, not including the date of notification, to respond. Facility operators must paint or flag the location of their lines if they're in that dig area. You must respond to all locate requests via the Okie 811 portal. And second or third notices can be issued for any company that does not respond via the Okie 811 portal. Design requests, facility operators have 14 calendar days to respond. Facility operators have the choice to either paint and flag or to send the maps. On a design request, you must also respond to those through the Okie 811 portal with positive response. And on design requests, second or third notices can be issued for any company that does not respond through the portal. And as you can see, there are a few differences. So on the locate request, you have a minimum of 48 hours, not including that date of notification. But a design request, you have 14 days to respond. On a locate request, you must paint if you have utilities in the area. But on the design request, you do have that option to go to the site and mark or just send them the maps. Okay, and what are you supposed to do when you receive the design survey request? So step number 1 will be to review the request to determine which method of marking the excavator requested. Step number 2 is going to be to determine if you're going to mark or clear the site, or if you're just going to send a map for this request. And then step number 3 will be to positively respond to the request through that Okie 811 portal. Which brings us to positive response for these design survey requests. So when you're responding to these requests in the portal, you have 3 options. You can choose site marked if that's what you did. That just means the facility was located and marked as a site. Comments for this are optional. If you are clear, you can also choose clear, and comments are optional on this response code as well. And then we do have a new response code. So if you choose to provide maps, you will select the maps provided, letting them know that you chose to provide a map. Comments are going to be required for this selection. So when using that maps provided response, you'll want to provide pertinent information in those comments. So we recommend letting them know when the maps were sent, who you sent the maps to, and the type of map that you sent or any other information that you think is important. You might provide a phone number if you don't already have your design contact listed. If they need to contact somebody else about the mapping, you might provide their phone number so they have a direct contact to get in touch with. Just any information that you feel is important. And one thing I do want to mention real quickly, I don't have any screenshots for this yet today, but when you are responding to your design requests, you will want to, if you receive lots of requests, you may want to use a sort feature, which we can always help you with that. If you give us a call at Member Services and you have any questions, we can always help you through that, how to sort those and be sure that you're only seeing those design requests. So now let's talk about testing. So testing is important for parsing members or those that use ticket management companies. We want to make sure your receiving system can successfully handle changes that may impact the import of data into your ticket management system or other system. And please notify your IT department or third-party ticket management software provider to help prepare for this change. And if you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I'll go over a few reminders. After the reminders, we will go over any questions that we receive. So be sure to get those questions submitted if you have any questions. So just a reminder, the new law goes into effect on November 1st, 2023. Those design survey requests will go live on October 25th, 2023. So you may begin receiving them on or after October 25th. A design contact is required for every dispatch code. A design output is optional, but could be beneficial for your organization. Facility operators will have 14 calendar days to respond. Positive response is mandatory for the design survey request. And testing is available for parsing members or members that use third-party ticket management companies. Now let's see if we had any questions. Okay, so one question we received was, are we auto-designating the contact or does this require interaction? So we will not be auto-designating your design contact. We do need you to provide that information to us so we make sure we're getting it to the right people. Okay, and so the next question was, if they select that they want a shapefile or KMZ/KML file, are we required to send them that? No, you're not required to send them that. They're just letting you know which ones they prefer, but you can send them whatever mapping file you're comfortable sending them if you choose to send them a mapping file. The next question we got was, can we use someone that is on our contact list already for the design contact? You can use somebody who is already a locator contact or an authorized contact, just whoever you feel would be responsible for those design requests, anybody that they could reach out to and get the pertinent information that they need. And so the next question we received was, I'm not sure if we're parsing member, how do we know if we need to test? You only need to test if you're a parsing member or if you work with a third-party ticket management company. If you're not sure if you are a parsing member, please reach out to us after the webinar and we can take a look at your account for you. And then the next question was, I don't have maps. What do I do if they request maps? So again, that excavator is just listing their preference when they select maps, markings, or the type of maps that they want. You can respond in whatever way is best for you. And then we received a question, why are they able to do second notices if no digging is taking place? So the reason that they are able to do those second notices is because those design survey requests are now a part of the law. And since they're a part of the law and the law states they require a response, that is why second or third notices can be issued. And then someone asked, are they going to be able to mark areas as big as they want, or will they have any limits for these requests? That's a really great question. So on the design survey requests, they will be limited to the same scope as a locate request. So as most of you know, a lot of the locate requests get broken up into 500-foot sections. If they're bigger than that, that's going to be the same rule. It'll apply to design survey requests as well. And then someone asked if we could review the design survey notification output. We will reach out to you after the webinar and review that with you a little more to answer any maybe more detailed questions that you might have about that. Thank you. We got really great questions today, and that is very much appreciated. If you guys have any additional questions after the webinar, please feel free to give us a call. We always want to hear from you. And then if you think of any questions or suggestions for any future webinar topics, you can contact our education and outreach department at education@oki811.org. We do have some really good webinars coming up on October 11th about how to reduce your costs. And then in November about damage prevention partnership opportunities. So please register for those at oki811.org/education events. If you have any questions regarding your membership, you can always contact member services at memberservices@oki811.org or by giving us a call at 800-522-6544 extension 4003. And if you have any questions regarding your service area editor or mapping, you can contact the GIS team at gis@oki811.org, or their extension is 4008. And we did get a last minute question real quick that I wanted to answer. They asked, will a copy of the PowerPoint presentation be provided? We are going to be sending some blasts out to all members late this week and probably next week. A copy of this webinar will be included in that blast. Also, if you go to the Learning Hub at oki811.org and select Watch Recorded Webinars, this webinar should be uploaded to our YouTube channel sometime tomorrow as well. And then, as always, we really appreciate your engagement. And if you have any questions or if you have any feedback about this webinar or future webinars, please take this survey at the end of the webinar. We really do look into that and we really value your feedback. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a great day.